The Last of Us Part 2 is Naughty Dog's biggest game to date, but just quite how long is it? In this video, we'll let you know exactly how many hours it took different members of the IGN team to finish the game, and what they prioritised doing with that time.
The Last of Us Part 2 took me about 25 hours to play on normal difficulty. That includes some pretty thorough collecting in the first half of the game, which often diverted me from the main path as I hunted for trading cards, Ellie's journal entries, and just generally took in the sights. That certainly added some time to my playthrough, and while I kept an eye out for collectibles during the second half of the game, I was so compelled by the story, as I say in my review, that I've left most of that treasure hunting for another day.
My first playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2 took me 24.5 hours to complete. I started off slow, especially in chapters 1 and 2, determined to find every artifact and piece of crafting equipment I could. Soon though, the story took hold and collectible hunting faded into the background for me, as I couldn't wait to get to that next plot point. As the game progressed, the lower my collectible percentage went, but I intend to head back to Seattle soon to spend more time in the places I breezed through before, looking in every dark corner and behind every closed door for shiny objects and most likely, more horrific sights.
Writing the guide for The Last of Us Part 2 meant carefully combing over every area, opening every drawer, and circling the perimeter of every room. While you can definitely run away at times, I chose to kill every enemy with a preference towards stealth and item conservation. This meant battles often involved studying enemy patterns and carefully waiting for the perfect headshot. Additionally, note-taking for directions and encounter tips added to my time as well, so I rolled credits on The Last of Us Part 2 after about 42 hours. However, writing a guide always means playing a lot slower than a standard playthrough. This number was also likely inflated by some time in photo mode and standing still to take notes, so I'd estimate a thorough playthrough of The Last of Us 2 could take 35 to 45 hours. In my first playthrough, I found 85% of the collectibles, discovered every workbench, and located every training manual and weapon recipe.
The Last of Us Part 2 is a bit longer than your traditional Naughty Dog game, and my ending clock showed around 23 hours. Like many folks, I started my playthrough by searching every corner, determined to find as many collectibles and optional dialogue pieces as I could. I'd say about halfway through, I did unfortunately have to set a bit of that aside and began focusing more on actually finishing the game. Luckily, beating the game opens up a chapter select, allowing you to go back and scoop up any collectibles you may have missed. This is also one of the rare Naughty Dog games that does not have a difficulty tied to its platinum trophy. So with all that said, I can easily see myself dumping another 20 or 30 hours into The Last of Us Part 2 in an attempt to check off all the boxes and earn myself that sweet, sweet platinum trophy.
It took me just under 25 hours to finish The Last of Us Part 2. Whilst playing, I felt like I took my time, trying to explore every crevice, but upon completion and checking the stats, it was clear that I missed a ton of artifacts, collectibles, and some areas altogether, especially in downtown Seattle. I'm also a keen trophy hunter though, so I immediately dove back in to get that precious platinum. In doing so, I discovered a bunch of new dialogue and context that I missed the first time around, so I definitely recommend a second playthrough. It took me just under 60 hours to finish the game, sweep up all the collectibles, and hear that very satisfying ding.
Yeah.